speaker, the commander for these two cadets who are with us tonight. Commander Gregory J. Erickson was commissioned in 1992 aboard the USS Constitution through the Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps program. He was raised in Livingston, Montana, graduated from Boston University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in aerospace engineering. Upon commissioning, Commander Erickson reported to flight school in Pensacola, Florida, earned the designation of Naval Aviator. Greg's initial sea tour was with Helicopter Anti-Submarine Squadron 2, flying SH-60F and HH-60H Seahawk helicopters. While with his squadron, he deployed to the Persian Gulf aboard the USS Constellation and qualified as a helicopter aircraft commander and functional check flight pilot. Following duty as an instructor pilot at Helicopter Anti-Submarine Squadron 10, Commander Erickson was accepted into the Training and Administration of Reserves program. He was assigned to Helicopter Combat Support Special Squadron 5, based at Naval Air Station, North Island, California. March of 2003, he deployed with his squadron to Kuwait as part of the Operation Iraqi Freedom. The unit was assigned to the Joint Special Operations Air Detachment and flew missions in direct support of the Navy SEALs, Army Special Forces, Polish Special Forces, and Iraq Counterterrorism Forces. Over the next 2 years, he deployed 3 times to Iraq and flew over 70 combat missions. Did y'all know this? Okay. In 2005, he attended the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island, where he completed a Master of Arts degree in National Security and Strategic Studies. He assumed command of Navy Operational Support Center, Amityville, in February of 2007. Under his leadership, the command received numerous commendations, including the 2009 Golden Anchor Award for Retention. He then became an instructor at the Joint Forces Staff College in Norfolk, Virginia from 2010 to 2013, at which point he retired. Prior to becoming the senior naval science instructor at Cary High School, Commander Erickson was a senior Navy science instructor at Western Alamance High School in Elon, North Carolina. That was from 13 to 17. Commander Erickson's awards include the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, numerous air medals, 2 Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medals, 2 Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medals, Combat Action Ribbon, and the Sikorsky Aircraft Rescue Award. Oh, that's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Commander Erickson.
No, you can turn that on. Turn this on, or do I eat it? No. Okay. I hope I can use the mic. I like to move around the room a little bit. Thank you all for that warm welcome and the introduction. Today, I was invited to speak on the Junior ROTC program and to talk about it kind of in general, both for, where do you want me? I guess I'll be here. Both for, not just for Navy Junior ROTC, which is what I teach, but also for all the programs. So I'm going to talk a little bit about give you a quick overview of the Junior ROTC program, and then talk about some specifics about our program and some challenges that the program faces in the future. I don't know, is there someone, and I want to thank Chris for loaning me his computer so that we can see this this evening. Is there someone that can just advance them for me? This is Navy. I stole this from our Navy curriculum. There's the Navy Junior ROTC Corps, and our little patch there that has the ship in the back there is the Constitution. So that's in a little patch. So it was started, the idea was started in 1911, and the first units were back in 1916. Go ahead and bring up the next slide. Currently, there are over 500 high schools and more than 3,000. I'm sorry, there are over bring that up. Over 500,000, 500,000 high school students, and then over 3,000 programs, and that is Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. The Army has the vast majority of them. Just over or really close to half of the units are Army, and then the rest, well, go ahead and go to the next slide here. Yeah, that's when it was started. And originally in 1918, they were all Army programs. But it's not necessarily a recruiting tool, or it's not defined as a recruiting tool for the military. It is a citizenship program, and it focuses on personal responsibility, a sense of accomplishment, developing leaders. And for a majority of the students that go through junior ROTC, they do not serve in the military. But there are a number of students, former students, that are currently representatives, senators, and things like that, and they've gotten at least a little bit of experience, military experience, from their dealings with junior ROTC. Go ahead, next slide. So Army is the first one. They started out in 1916. Go ahead and back in Fort Leavenworth. And then in 1964, they expanded the program and added Air Force, Navy, and the Marine Corps. And so those 4 programs were added. And then recently, in the last couple of years, they have, so the first Navy one was in 1966, but then more recently, just in the last couple of years, they've added, next slide, they've added the Space Force, from these, oftentimes they're former Air Force units that got converted to Space Force, and then also the U.S. Coast Guard. And there are, currently in North Carolina, there is at least 1 Space Force and I think 2 now Coast Guard JROTC units. Next slide. And that's since 2021 for the most part. The program is an effort of both the U.S. military and the local high schools. As a JROTC instructor, although I wear the uniform, I am employed by the school district. And what the military does is it pays half my salary to the district. And that's how that works. So they get 2 instructors for the most part for the price of 1, kind of. Next slide. Okay, and that's what my boss is the principal of Cary High School. Now we have policies and programs that come down through the Navy, and I also, we have an area manager that has right now 66 schools in Area 6, and that's all of North and South Carolina. Next slide. Yeah. Okay. So some challenges just on the Navy side. Our program office had been in Pensacola for a number of years, and in the last 2 years, they moved it from Pensacola, Florida, to Great Lakes. They had a staff of only about 16 in Pensacola, Florida, and 2 of them moved to Great Lakes. So everybody else, yeah, for the most part, they stayed in Pensacola. And found something else, so or retired. So next slide. And so this year, okay, some background right now. I don't know if you may have read some articles, but there was a series of 4 articles that was posted by the New York Times about JROTC instructors. The first was about sexual misconduct and sexual abuse. There was one about the NRA donating money to Navy marksmanship programs. There was one about the curriculum being very Western-centric and out of date. And there was one about, what's the fourth one? I think I've got it on another slide. At any rate,
like pipelining kids in the military.
oh yeah, it was that some people at a high school end up getting assigned a JROTC class without them requesting it. Okay, and so the fallout from that is in the most recent National Defense Authorization, they have decided to go to a max of 30 schools per area manager. So we're going from 11 areas this year to now there will be 23 next year, regions or areas in the Navy. And that is also going on simultaneously with the Army and the Air Force. So they're bringing in a lot more area managers. Next. Each instructor is certified by the military, whether it's Army, Navy, or Air Force. There is not a lot of cross-pollination in that I, as a Navy instructor, could not teach an Air Force JROTC program or an Army. And the ones that can kind of move between, the Marine Corps can do Marine and Navy, the Coast Guard can do Coast Guard and Navy, the Space Force and the Air Force can kind of cross-pollinate, but usually not between the major services. The instructors, there's usually a retired officer, okay, that is the senior instructor, so a senior naval science instructor, or a senior aerospace instructor, or a senior military instructor. And then next slide. Okay, those are the area managers, yeah. Next. This was what the area managers for the Navy was. There were 620 units and 11 different areas. And then that is going to be changing next year. Go ahead. Okay. Next, retired officers, senior petty officers, Marine Corps personnel. And this is the NSI. So there's one instructor that's an officer usually, and one instructor that is enlisted. If the unit is very big, they'll have additional instructors. So there could be 3 or 4 if the unit is over 175 or close to 250 are the ones that have 3 or more instructors that I know of. At this time, they're all retired instructors. Next slide. Okay, yeah, some of us, some had previous teaching experience. Next. We get supplied by the Navy uniforms, textbooks, and then some money for travel and a few things like that. Go ahead and click through those. Uniforms and equipment, and then also our teaching aids, some of the curriculum, and some electronic devices to help teach the curriculum. We have a number of different teams that members can be part of. We've got at Cary, we've got 8 different teams, color guard, and then the military provides the equipment for the color guard. We've got marksmanship, and that is with air rifles. We have some equipment from the Navy, but a lot of it has been grants, etc., that we get for our marksmanship team, and then drill team. We also do a drone. We have a drone team this year. That's something new. We do orienteering, which is running through the woods with a map and compass, finding checkpoints in the wood, backwoods orienteering. If you ever want to challenge yourself to a fun problem in a weekend, they've got a bunch of open courses. You can learn how to do land navigation that way. And then Cyber Patriot is network security competition. And that is put on by the Air Force Association. And that is, Cary High has done really well the last couple of years. We've been #1 in North and South Carolina for our Cyber Patriot team. Academics team, and then our athletics team. I left this picture. Okay. There's our athletics team. That was at the Clayton Ironman competition that we've won the last couple of years. And then a sailing team as well. Some of the things that we do in JROTC, we go to air bases or shore bases. This last year we went to Elizabeth City to the air station there, and the cadets got to fly aboard a C-130. It was pretty exciting. Next. We also, we haven't done any ship tours since COVID. We were actually scheduled to go to Norfolk like 2 weekends after the COVID hit in 2000, and we haven't been able to rebook that since. But then also going to a bunch of different competitions. Our drill team last year in 2022, we went to Nationals in Pensacola, Florida, and that was our drill, athletic, and academic team. And this year, we went to Area 6 and we finished 4th at Area 6. Well, we do parades, and this is where I had pictures, but I had to take them off because my battery was dying and I had to transfer the file. I might try to bring it up on, after we have questions, I might try to bring it up on my computer so you can see some other pictures. Okay, and then, yeah, the coffee house. We do a lot of community service, Adopt a Highway. The coffee house is for adults with special needs to give them a socialization. We do that at Resurrection Lutheran Church. For Cary, the results for Cary this year, we've been a distinguished unit with academic honors for the last 23 years. We went to Elizabeth City, like I said. Our drill, academics, and athletics team was 4th overall in Area 6. Our brain brawl was 4th overall. Our cyber patriot team was 1st in North and South Carolina. Our orienteering team finished 4th in North Carolina. And our marksmanship team had one competitor compete at the state meet, and he is here tonight, Owen Kahn. And Katie was the athletic team commander this year that brought home the trophy from the Clayton Ironman. So those are the competitions that we are involved in. Okay, so some challenges. There is a shortage of JROTC instructors in just about all services. The Air Force 2 or 3 years, well, no, it's more like 6 or 7 years ago, went to not a 12-month contract, but a 10-month contract that they would only offer that half of the pay to the district for 10 months. And they lost a lot of instructors due to that. I'm not sure whether it's the economy or whatever, but like when I talk to old retiring instructors for JROTC, one of them was telling me is when he went for his interview, and this is in Chapin, South Carolina, there were 31 candidates, and they flew 3 of them in to do on face-to-face interviews, and then he got the job. Today, over the last 2 years, Colonel Penny's former high school has gone 2 years without a senior aerospace instructor. And that's because I think it's a little bit of a change in the economy, and then also the jobs that are available, especially for officers after retirement. They just have more lucrative things that they can do. I talked about the challenges of the new MDAA, the more area managers, and that's what, yeah, the involuntary cadet enrollment. And so to talk about that, I do want to talk about it just a little bit. If you read those articles, it made it sound pretty bad, especially like the instructor misconduct. The problem is that the military tracked all that information and tracks when somebody is charged, or when there is an accusation, when someone is charged, when someone is convicted. And they have, they know exactly their numbers, and it is 1 instructor out of 1,000 that would be convicted for instructor misconduct. The National Education Department does not track that. They know of 2 cases in the last 10 years or something. You talk to any high school teacher, and they know of 2 or 3 cases in their building of other teachers. And so, in a way, the military actually, I think, is doing a decent job making sure that their instructors are certified and of the proper caliber. But it's one is way too many, but the truth is the JROTC knows what their numbers actually are. They were called by Congress and asked, hey, did you know about this case? Did you know about this case? And they're like, yes, we provided that data to the reporters. And so we are the ones that are tracking that, and we know exactly what's going on with it. So, but because of that is that we will get more area managers this year. Involuntary cadet enrollment, JROTC, and I should have explained this too. JROTC is an elective class, and how a student gets enrolled in it, they enroll in the class. And there were some school districts out there that, just like if there is, hey, I'd like to sign up for chorus. Well, chorus is full. Okay, then I'll do foods. Well, some school districts are going, hey, I'd like to sign up for chorus. Oh, that's full. Well, we can put you in JROTC, and we're involuntarily putting people into JROTC. And so that's not the right thing to do, but it happened in the past. They're trying to make sure that doesn't happen in the future. I do believe in an all-volunteer force, and JROTC is part of that. So, and then the other thing that's a change in the new National Defense Authorization Act is not more pay for instructors, but they're lowering the requirement. It no longer has to be a retired military. They have to serve 8 years and be at least E6 to be a JROTC instructor in the future. So, and then with that, they're changing the way the pay scale kind of works, but it should be somewhat equitable. There's no more money, but it'll be similar to what the pay structure is now. Next slide. North Carolina currently has the highest rate, or the highest number of instructor vacancies in the U.S. And I'm not sure why exactly that is, but they don't offer any additional pay for like a master's degree or anything like that, where other states will. And because North Carolina provides the pay for teachers at the state level, that's a little bit different than the specific districts. And so there are rules there that I think may, yeah. WCPSS, and I've heard today that 2 of those positions are full. When I built this slide, it had 3 senior instructor positions. The way that they are trying to fill those is by moving them from officer positions to senior enlisted positions, NCO positions. And I know that's going to be the case at Broughton, correct? Yep. And so I guess I bring that to your attention as military officers. I think that having an officer in a JROTC program is an important part. And although I don't see the statistics, anecdotally, I will say that programs that are enlisted centered or have 2 enlisted instructors, you see a lot of people going enlisted. And those programs that have strong officers tend to get more into ROTC programs and things like that, and the academies. And so, yeah, and so the thing that kind of makes me pull all my hair out, I used to have hair, is in Wake County there aren't like real set policies or any exclusions for JROTC. So a field trip is a field trip is a field trip. And Chief Heath and I will take a very similar color guard to 28 different events throughout the year. And last year we had an event where it was for a service member's, former service member's funeral. And the district wants me to do a 30-day prior to put all the plans in motion and stuff like that. And unfortunately, this service member, he did not provide us that courtesy. He and so, but there's no like exclusion for that 30-day window in any of the policies, you know, for a color guard or for something like that. So, so that would be one thing that, you know, if I could bend the ear of the superintendent, it would be something to, you know, maybe figure out how the broad policy might need some exclusions for JROTC. Yeah. Next slide. I think, is that it? That's it. I can bring up some pictures. Anybody have any questions about JROTC?
Question?
Yeah.
Chris, you mentioned a lot of activities.
Yes.
How are the cadets getting to these activities? You guys have enough.
Yeah, I'm a bus driver. I have my my bus certificate so that I can and my CDL license so I can drive them anywhere in the state. When we go to South Carolina, Wake County policy is you cannot take a school bus out of state. So then we rent a charter bus. And Julie Broughton, who's sitting there, has helped raise a lot of money to pay for all the charter buses and everything that we do. And the cadets have done a lot to raise a lot of money. We've done car washes and requested donation from family and friends and things like that. So that is how we do the activities. Some of them, you know, some of the activities are fairly cheap. The orienteering and stuff like that, I can put 14 cadets on a small minibus and drive to, you know, for backwoods orienteering. A lot of them are at Umstead Park, at Carolina Forest, which is just right over here, and a few other places that we do orienteering at that are fairly close. But for a lot of the meets, and to go to Pensacola last year, to go to Pensacola costs what, $30,000 we had to raise to go to between the charter bus and everything. And so the Navy did reimburse us about half of that, but we had to pay it up front. It is a one thing in the military. Usually in the military they'll pay something up front, but in this one you have to raise the money and pay it, and then it's, oh, we might pay you back the next year in September at the end of this, you know, years, so you can get the money. So we do a lot of fundraising to help do all those activities. Yes.
Yeah, so if you were to want to engage Wake County Public Schools on modifying policies, changing policies, do you get any help from the military departments or the Department of the Navy to do that, or is it up to you?
It is pretty much up to the individual instructors. You know, the area managers could engage in that, I guess, and they will once kind of the train is off the track, you know, say, hey, you need to hire somebody. You need to, you know, your program is now on probation. That's what the area manager will do, is, you know, say, hey, if you don't get another instructor here, you could lose your program. And that happened in Buncombe County last year. The North Buncombe High School went from a JROTC unit to what they call an NNDC unit. I should have the abbreviation on the top of my head, but it's basically a citizenship program. But the difference is it went from the Navy paying for half of 2 instructors to the district paying for all of 1 instructor, because they weren't able to maintain the numbers for the program. And so, yeah. And in the one other thing that's in the latest NDAA is they intend to expand JROTC nationwide, kind of like they did the expansion in '64, where they made a whole bunch of new units. They intend to do that in 2 or 3 years, have more units, put those out there. But I would say North Carolina is not in a good position to get any more units at this point.
If it's in the NDAA, then the department is behind JROTC programs. It seemed like they would be more proactive in working with school districts across the country to develop policies that best meet both the school system and the services needs. But it sounds to me like you're not engaged.
Yeah, the service that probably does the best is the Marine Corps, but they actually see JROTC as a recruiting effort. The other services kind of view it as an extra because it is just citizenship, and there are not direct commissions and things like that. You know, a Navy JROTC student can go and take an Army ROTC scholarship. So why should the Navy pay for that program, if you kind of understand? And they look at it as, hey, Congress is including all this money, $10 million or whatever it is, for this program that doesn't have a direct result in us putting, you know, bombs on target or whatever. And there is a tension there of the service wanting to take some of those dollars, and Congress itself is the one that usually is saying, hey, we're going to up this program. We think this is important. We think this is a good program for the country.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Comments, but we don't allow any of our guests. We don't allow any of our guests to leave empty-handed, do we? Colonel Graham?
Thank you very much. My oldest Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, I can really talk very loud. Is it working? Okay. My oldest grandson is a Navy ROTC graduate from Duke.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And he is a jet pilot now.
Outstanding.
And so proud of him. But anyway, I would like to present this to you. It's a very nice, warm.
Very good.
Isn't that cool?
I'll wear that to PT. Not this week, though. Maybe in
Thank you.
December next
Thank you very much for what you do.
We're now at the point we are at the high point of the evening. But Greg, I couldn't let your comments pass without recalling that at the awards presentation last year, we had Superintendent of Public Schools, Kathy Moore, who's now retiring, and we learned a lot about the programs from her perspective as well. And based on her comments and other materials that we've acquired, this chapter has become exceedingly active in identifying these problems to our leadership at MOAA at the national level. And we are really hopeful that they will elevate this issue and get more attention for it. We do know that about 40% of JROTC graduates go on in some way, shape, or form to military service. In today's economy, that is an extraordinary result. And yet, the support that the military departments give these units is rather meager. And as Superintendent Moore pointed out to us, the ability to get additional units requires an act of Congress, thunderbolts raining down from a high, and other divine interventions. And it was only when a previous superintendent came to Wake County with substantial military experience, that is General Tata, were we able to crack the code and get additional units established. This is not the way it ought to be. So I just want to say, as a preface to our presentations, that this chapter is fully engaged in making sure that the JROTC program thrives and prospers and achieves the size and scope that it should. And again, thank you very much for your comments. And now I'll invite Bob, Greg, and I'd also like to invite Mike Crane to join us. Mike has been a real stalwart as we have created the Scholarship Foundation, and I would like to honor him by having him as part of our presentation. Thank you. Over to Bob.
I'm all set up here. Two things that he didn't talk about, that Commander Erickson didn't talk about. The last two things on the chart there were no comp time and no coach pay. And I served at Sanderson doing the Air Force JROTC program there, and I worked sometimes more during the week there than I did when I was at the Pentagon for 2 tours. And I asked Kathy Moore, when she was the principal at Sanderson, if I could get coach pay, because you saw the number of teams they have there. Nah, you couldn't do it. And comp time, we worked Saturdays, go to drill meets on Saturdays and stuff. So, but the other side of that, it is one of the most rewarding jobs I ever had in my career, working with these young people. And you're going to meet 2 of them right now. It's my pleasure to introduce the 2 recipients of our 2023 Colonel William Frank Riley Triangle Chapter MOA JROTC scholarships. Both of these high school seniors share similar experiences in their JROTC program. They performed hundreds of hours serving their JROTC unit, Cary High School, and their community. They had A+ averages, right? Yeah, all through. Don't shake your head. All through the 4 years of high school. Additionally, they were both leaders in the Cary High School Navy JROTC unit during their high school careers. Scholarship checks and certificates will be presented by our chapter president, Colonel Herb Siegel, Commander Gregory Erickson, and Colonel Mike Crane, who is a major contributor to the scholarships, as was mentioned. This year, both recipients will receive $1,000. The first is Katie Broughton. Please come up. Katie is a member of the Cary High School Navy JROTC program. She served as the unit's communications officer, athletics commander, logistics officer, and platoon commander. She's a member of the competitive regulation and exhibition drill teams, also on the school's women's cross-country team. She is an active Girl Scout and has been awarded the bronze, silver, and I think by now the gold?
Still working.
Still working, okay, which is the Eagle Scout. Katie has been accepted to Penn State University, UNC Charlotte, Appalachian State University, and Meredith College. She plans to attend Meredith and will be a crosstown member of the NC State University Army ROTC Battalion. She has been awarded an Army ROTC National Scholarship valued at over $100,000, as well as a merit scholarship from Meredith valued at another $100,000. Katie is here tonight with her parents, Julie and John.
Do I give you the check directly, or?
Yeah, turn that around so we can get a picture there. No, the camera's over there.
Well, you should be holding it.
Yes, she should. It's her. Our second recipient is Owen Kahn. Owen also is a member of the Cary High School Navy JROTC program. He has served as the unit's administration officer, the communications officer, and operations officer. Owen was the editor and publisher of the unit's newsletter, was the commander of the unit's marksmanship and academic teams. He's been accepted to NC State University, the Citadel. No, I'm a Citadel guy.
He's a real
Yeah.
ring knocker.
And Hampton Sydney College. Owen will be attending Hampton Sydney on an Army ROTC scholarship, also worth $100,000. Owen's here tonight with his mom and dad, Elizabeth and Russ. Oh, you need this, don't you? Fine. Now, I'd like to remind all of you that this is not possible without your contributions, your donations to our scholarship fund. So keep them coming, and thanks, Mike, for what you contributed. Appreciate that. You know, $5,000, $10,000 is just good. Yeah. Now, after we break up, if the parents want to get into some pictures, we'll do that too, and then I'll send them to your email.
Well, that concludes our formal program. Any parting shots before we adjourn? Hearing none. Thank you very much to all for coming. And we're hopeful that we will have 2 events this year. We have, for our 60th anniversary, invited the main MOAA man, the new CEO, General Brian Kelly, to join us, and we're hopeful that somewhere in the October timeframe he will do so. So that meeting date is flexible. We're also still hopeful of having a summer social event, and last year we had a wonderfully successful outing at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. No telling where we'll wind up this summer. We're working on it. Other comments? Matt?
Yes. Some of you may have been here, some of you not, but at our 50th, we had Admiral Ryan.
We did.
We had record attendance. We had about 125 people attend that meeting. So tell all your friends, potential members, if this comes to fruition, or even if it doesn't, to join us. Like tonight, they're great.
Thank you, Matt. And with that, With that, we'll declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming, and we would want to take some pictures after. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe driving home. Thank you.